Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome on into SSRL yet again. It is round 10 in Abu Dhabi. The difference is it's Division 2, and boy, do we have quite the race for you set up today. It is top 3 separated by 13 points. So, again, like Division 1 last night, another critical round here in the league. Of course, we have now going to complete 10 rounds as of tonight, and we only have Miami and the Mystery Grand Prix to go. But we won't know what the Mystery Grand Prix is until we arrive at that very fateful day. In your driver's standings, of course, it's actually a 12-point separation between the top 3, with Pleasant Lake still leading the way, but a really out-of-character result there. For the first time outside of the top 10 altogether, finishing 11th after getting a last-lap puncture, and he dropped all the way down the order. And then Quincy, grabbing as much as he could from 4th place, is now 2nd place with 3 points separating, and of course we all know where Energetic is. So a real turn of the tide in recent weeks. Then it's Moksha and Race Chase rounding out your top 5, followed by Trugster, Salvi, Toby, ADS, and Tarkin Gino to round out your top 10. Then from there it's Tabran, Skid Solo, Kavachka, Kwan, Soribo, Matt the Tank, Falcor Warrior, Rendog, Sergeant Devsy, and Bruiser. Those are your full-time drivers, with Rowley, Danger David, Babish, Cloudsan, and Vincenzo rounding out the reserves in this league. For your constructor standings, well, it's another move there, because Mercedes have now gone clear of Aston Martin by over 20 points as well. They were 3rd going into last week, now stand 2nd coming into this week, and they have also gained 8 points over the Scuderia team at the front of the field so far. And this could still be one heck of an interesting constructors fight as well. Of course, that is for the Qatar Grand Prix. We'll bring that up in between the qualifying and the race. But we also, of course, say hello to our co-commentator as well. I've just got some news here, but we'll go through that very soon. Herman the German, F125, my team specialist, World of Tanks specialist, and a great co-commentator. Herman, how are you doing this evening?
I'm very well, thank you very much, and once again for that lovely introduction. Looking forward to what has been transpiring as a great season right now after that very chaotic and very eventful Qatar Grand Prix. Looking forward to this one as we have yet another dry qualifying session. That also might be the last for both our divisions, with yesterday's race also concluded in the dry. We're looking forward to get some wet weather practice again soon in Miami, and obviously our mystery GP in 2 weeks time. But today we're going to be looking at one of the more prominent aspects of a 3-way title fight, and including that is Quincy, who just caught up with Pleasant Snake after his very miserable Qatar Grand Prix and Energetic, then even taking the win again, 4th on for the season, and also tied with Snake. Can't believe we have a championship contender who has 3 less wins than the guys around him. And we have 17 drivers to take us around the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at Yas Island. And looking forward to this one.
As we should be, like we've already said, Pleasant Lake got a poor run of form recently, and before Qatar last week, it would have just been like, it's just a little drop in the ocean, but then there was an entire meteor into the ocean. Of course, as we've already gone through already, Pleasant Lake getting a final lap puncture, which sent him down all the way to 11th. And of course, one thing I did forget to say is that Trugster's penalty was removed post-race, so he did hold on to 2nd place, so that's a podium for him. Very good work from the Red Bull driver, but might just want to try and find some consistency from week to week. He really looked like last week he was very locked in, so he is one to look out for me. Currently, we're still in the pit lane without an outlap at the moment. But, of course, I think everyone is watching the guy we are watching right now. It's Energetic. Came into this as an outsider about the midway, and then has strung 2 rids in a row together. Could be 3 if the form continues, but Energetic rids really been on fire. Quincy has, obviously, as Herman said already, 3 less wins than the 2 champions-elect around him. But either way, it's going to be a very entertaining final 3 races, I am sure. And even last night proved to be another turning point. Rush the Series finishing outside the top 10 and bringing Andy Andre and even yourself, Herman, into contention. So what is it like going into these last 3 rounds and all of a sudden thinking, wait, I've got 2 drivers to worry about, not 1?
Yeah, well, the thing is with Andy and myself, I never stop worrying about him. He lives rent-free, because if you experience title fights where he claws back that amount of points, every time you look at a good season start, you're thinking, oh crap, and if you look at a bad season start for him, you're thinking, okay, he has won this, and the season is not even done. So yeah, I think Rush overall was surprising to me to be so consistently up there, because he struggled with attendance the season before, and we also were looking at to joining forces at Mercedes for season 6, but then something in his schedule and obviously my ban as well didn't make that come true. So I think lots and lots of different influences from the outside, especially also for Andy with him getting married. That is also a very important thing in your life that takes up some space in your time schedule, obviously, in your head. And I think, honestly, if anything, Snake only can go out there and just try to do what he does best, and that is putting himself on the pole position once again and try to command the race here. It's harder to do this on this track in a way, because there's like only 1 real sector where you can try to get away, or like 1.5. But in Qatar you almost had like 2, or most of the lap before that 1 DRS detection zone came up on the main straight. And yeah, obviously that tire strategy didn't go to plan, so he lost even more ground on that, despite there being huge gaps in between the midfield as the first laps come in. And yeah, here you are looking at a very long part of the racetrack that is covered by DRS. And after that, you just have to keep the rear tires alive and make sure that you, if you have some pace, you can try to get away after what is now turn 9 and into the DRS detection point at the exit of 4. So it's very interesting to set up the car here, because if you go full out on the downforce, then you will get away very early, and also first detection point is still early in the lap on the second lap. So yeah, if you find that tire warm-up very easy in the sense that you get a good run on the end of the first lap, you will try to get away, and I think that is the target for Snake today. For Energetic, you have to say you can just continue to go guns are blazing, because he has been on the back foot for some races in between Baku and the next win, and he waited a bit for that. And now we are just looking at another strong performance from him yesterday, where he was seriously challenging me to the end for 3rd position, and he can obviously continue with that tonight and make sure he's on the podium again, because when he did win, he wasn't really on the podium, and that was something that Quincy, who took many second places, has continued to do so. And that's obviously something Energetic needs to convert into more points positions inside the top 4 minimum on the podium, especially when Energetic is in front of Snake. He needs to be there, and not just by a couple of points in the midfield if both of them have a bad race.
And speaking of Quincy's second places, he had 5 second places in the first 5 races, and the biggest coincidence in them all is whenever he qualified 4th in those first 5 races, he usually ended up second place. That was until round 6, where he finished 7th, and then the week after that came back resurgently in round 7, taking the win, as now we're starting to see the first flying laps be completed, and Quincy and Energetic I say nowhere near Snake, but they're certainly not right next to him. Trugster is separating the 3 champions-elect, not really caring about what's going on, and of course Trugster, known for getting 3 second track limit penalties, has really done a good job to really consolidate his performances and not really get those. He didn't have the best start to this season either, a couple of retirements here and there in the first few races, but he's really come alive in this second half, and so definitely, again, as I said before, one to watch out for. But here is another guy that is going from strength to strength, the American Race Chase. Well, I have seen many things happen with Race Chase. He has gone from one of the maybe arguably one of the midfield, bottom of the midfield, to maybe nearing the top 5. And this has happened over this season. Really thought he did have some pace, and it really has kind of come to fruition for him. He's just gone from strength to strength, just kind of learnt from every race, was always very humble as well, and I think that's been a very important thing about Race Chase. He's always been looking to learn. As soon as I give him some praise, though, he invalidates the lap almost immediately. But either way, Race Chase will be one to look out for, in my humble opinion, as well. Moving on to Rolly, though, one thing I do want to point out is 3-second post-race penalty for the Ferrari driver, so that's something the constructors will have to worry about in that regard. That's certainly news for Ferrari, but it's not as bad, let's say, Herman, as a 63-second penalty, which Bavish had to experience last night.
Yeah, that was on the back of receiving a certain penalty points threshold for the Norwegian driver for Williams in Division 1. So yeah, that was a tough race for him, but he needed to complete that in order to get the penalty off. But he still needs to be aware. He needs some clean races now, and he won't complete them with the 2 races remaining inside of this season. So yeah, I think something while we saw just Rolly complete a lap and his first one putting him into P7 here, is that Rolly next to Taki and Gino is one of the most interesting fights going into the next 3 races, including tonight, since both Ferrari and Mercedes are looking like they're going to be fighting for the constructors title. You have to say that Skid Solo and obviously Snake's performances have that points total that they currently hold basically by himself. But they would, Aston Martin would need Skid Solo to perform way better than these two. And I have to say, with Takagino, and I noticed that we're watching the Best of the Rest Championship, has just gotten his best points paying position inside of the Qatar Grand Prix with P9. Has missed some races, which obviously hurt Mercedes, and obviously we talked about that dip in performance between sort of round race 3 to 6 before the Brazil win by Energetic, where he took a 1-stop and made that work. So I'm interested to see Mercedes against Ferrari, since that is Rolly in reserve role for usually ADS, who has been currently 3rd, if you discount the top 6 guys that are mostly fighting for podiums positions or even wins at stages. So he's lacking some. He will be not scoring anything, but very important to have a strong and consistent driver in Rolly to help Quincy with the Constructors Championship title, as now Pleasant Snake is dethroned by Energetic, and he's the first guy to go below the 23s here, and he is currently on provisional pole position.
Indeed he is. And well, I also kind of want to shout out another driver, actually, because I want to, only for his qualifying performance from last week, Tabran, qualifying 5th last week in Qatar, but tonight finds himself 3rd place, as we are now over the halfway point of this qualifying session. Just a shame that the race never really came together for the McLaren driver, but tonight, hopefully, he'll be thinking about different things, as now we see Truckster dethrone Energetic, but Pleasant Snake is also on an outlap. But Quincy currently on a flyer. Let's pay attention to the Ferrari driver as he comes through Sector 1 now, improving on his personal best. Do remember that the delta in the top right compares to a driver's personal best, not the overall session best, unless if we are looking at the pole position guy improving on the pole time. But now, second DRS. Expect a lot of DRS games here as we go between the straights, but 2 straights here, the 2 long back straights here at the Abu Dhabi circuit, and now this is the recently added banker, been in use since 2021, and of course the revamped corners that we will approach very, very soon in order to improve racing. And it has improved speed. Wouldn't necessarily say it's improved racing, as you still can't really overtake through these corners, but either way, it's certainly improved at least the pace that these cars can go at, and makes the laps a little shorter before the next overtaken zone, as we now go through the final corner of turn 16. Quincy very wide there. It's going to be a personal best improvement, but he remains position 5 for Now, Moksha is another one as well.
Race chase next.
Race Chase is next indeed. Thank you very much. He's going through turn 16 now. Going to put time on the board for the first time. Oh, that is amazing, Herman. And as we were talking about him, praising him earlier, he goes and makes that praise reality.
Yeah, 23.0 flat is very good for 23.1 flat right now is very good for what is quote-unquote his first attempt here with a lot of track evolution still to come. Usually on these tracks where you have, like, especially Abu Dhabi, where it's like a noon to night race, most of like in real life you saw that obviously, but in the game on the 50% it's not really that great. A Snake goes top by roughly half 10th year and now is your current provisional pole position holder. We see that the track evolution is very heavily dependent on how the track is cooling down and by how much and how fast. And sometimes, obviously, you don't really see that in night races or night qualifyings, especially if some clouds are over the track. That obviously helps you to improve that track evolution a bit faster. Is more noticeable when you have full qualifying sessions, but for this one you can also like kind of feel that if the track is ramping up through the session, it usually can come at early stages, and I think the lap time just posted by Race Trade is also a slight indicator for that these drivers are looking at more improvement of the track very soon, because there's just so much that goes into the tires on the lap, and as I mentioned before, especially the last sector is so dependent on the rears, and you have some traction zones, turn 5, turn 7, 9 even, where you just need to keep these rears alive and make sure, and that will obviously be a major factor for the race later, that you have enough tire temperature in a way that you don't overheat them obviously, but you also can't lose the fronts, because then you won't turn in and run wide at the exit of the hotel double left-hander. So it's very noticeable if you, for example, drive this in the dry on a daylight. So I think more improvement to come, and I'm expecting these times to go even lower towards the midway 22. So let's see what the drivers can do with the last 4 minutes, as we still have 2 drivers, including Bruiser and Skid Solo, not having completed some laps. And Ibo and Meldrum seem to be on more banker ones so far, as the rest has kind of found way to positions. And let's see if they can have good individual performances, as the next drivers are out to be on the track soon, and some starting probably one of their final attempts very soon, including Rowley, Toby Lenzen, who had also his best season finish inside of the season with P7 last time out in Qatar. And there's also T-Brand, who's currently located in 5th position out on the track as well, looking to get that warm up very nicely in. Don't overheat the tires before the final sector. And there's a spin by Bruce at the exit of 5, as we are still waiting a lap time from him, but that is also invalidated, so nothing there, as he's passed by Skid Solo, currently located in 18th. And I'm sure he will find time to jump up a position. And another brief yellow by Meldrum, who has joined this grid after Qatar, so last week, and there's some damage to the wing, so we are not probably going to see any improvement soon. On the lap, Kovachka, is he going to finish that one off? Yeah, looks like it. Let's see what the resurfaced Williams driver can do, and he is up by 9/10 and goes into 11th position, probably his last attempt. So yeah, not too bad. We always have talked about Kovachka, that he usually starts outside the top 10 and then makes his way into it. I haven't seen that in Qatar, but this is a totally different racetrack. We can surely see this, especially with time penalties, or people are just too eager on the throttle when there's used or worn tires.
Let's see what happens. 1 minute and 45 seconds to go on the clock, and final flying laps are starting to come in already. Rowley and Toby, to my surprise, coming out very early. Now, this might be a way of giving the drivers, their teammates, I should say, a slipstream advantage on their qualifying lap, which Yuki attempted to do for Max Verstappen. Obviously, on the race in real life, that has just come and gone, which obviously Lando Norris got crowned world champion here, but we are still 3 races away from doing that ourselves. And and obviously it's a three-way fight. And for those that have just come in, well, Rowley has got a 3-second post-race penalty from the stewards here in SSRL, and so he will have to serve that post race as I specified. But Rowley coming to the line now, final corner of 16, and he will complete the lap. Where has he got a place? That is 5th place for the time being, but let's see where Quincy is on the track. He's just going through the final sets of corners now, which are 12, 13, 14, 15, and then 16. But Trugstar has also started a flying lap, but is 1.6 seconds down, so maybe just getting a banker lap in for him. To Brand, the McLaren has gone wide at turn 1. So a couple of activities.
Just jumped to 4th.
Just jumped 4th. I do apologise indeed. So thank you, Herman, for filling that in. And as Tabran jumps to 4th, gets out of the way in case of any traffic, but no real need. Just generosity being shown up by the McLaren. But here's Race Chase also coming to Sector 2 timing line. He's nearly 0.3 of a second up. So this brings him into the 122s. Will be the 4th driver to do so as it stands right now. Tabran just missing out on that by under half a tenth. And now Race Chase is quickly coming to the end of his lap. Quincy's just behind. There's an Alpine getting out of the way. That might be Sir Ribbo. I just get making sure he has room, or Meldrum, as Meldrum is actually in the pits, so that was definitely Sir Ribbo. Qualifying is done, but Race Chase invalidates, so there'll be no improvement from him. Bit of a shame considering he's been going from strength to strength, so this means we need to find another driver. Quincy is still running so far. Who is where on the lap? Trugster and Pleasant Stake are still in the early stages of their own. Quincy is just approaching the sets 2 timing boards now. Has opened DRS for the second time tonight. At the moment, Quincy's teammate has just gone into the pit lane, so no slipstream advantage there from Rowley. Unfortunate for him, but otherwise there are still several drivers, and Trugstar, obviously, as we've already said, is still coming to the line. Toby has just gone to the line there, but obviously no improvement, so that means we are going to focus on our championship elect. One is in 1st, one is in 3rd, the other one we're looking at is in 7th. He needs to find an improvement sooner rather than later, and just make sure, oh, as we see a bit of drama there happening at the front. This won't affect Quincy too much. There was a bit of teleporting at play, and that might have been a distraction. It's no improvement at all, as Energetic came to the line there as well. Didn't improve. I think he was affected by that. And now Trugster is invalidated. Pleasant Stakes pole, Herman.
Yeah, that was very anticlimactic, I have to say. Energetic just did his very best Russell impression at the end of Q3. We saw the British Mercedes driver go over the extended curb on the final turn, and that was very much reminiscent of that. And Pleasant Shade just pitted, so I don't think Energetic was that impacted by the guys ahead. I think he was trying to push that very much, and he was like over 1 and a tenth down on his personal best after Sector 2, so I was watching him throughout. And yeah, the first runs, like for Max Verstappen in Abu Dhabi 2 days ago, actually already sealed the deal. So very close at the front, you have to say. But yeah, Quincy, once again, with some work left to do, half a second behind P1, has some drivers in between that he is probably not going to be liking in terms of passing, because that might eat up some of your tires. And he tried to do that alternative strategy in Qatar. I think that worked in somewhat of a favor, because obviously that very chaotic turn 1 to 2 where he just gained like 7th position. So yeah, that would be quite surprising if that happens today again, because turn 1 is very much of a very uncharacteristic corner for that here in Abu Dhabi.
Your official qualifying results after 18 minutes. It's Pleasant Stake on pole, Trugster in 2nd, 3rd is Energetic, 4th and 5th are Tabran and Race Chase respectively, 6th to 10th is Rowley, Quincy, Moksha, Toby and Tarkangino, Salvi, Kvachka, Jamaican Jam and Sergeant Devsey skid solo round out your top 15, followed by 16th to 18th being Meldrum, Ibo and Bruiser. Now, I have a quick question for you, Herman, because I was on board with Bruiser earlier on in the session, and he wasn't using any battery. Do you think that he has not got that button bind, or is he just choosing not to use it?
Yeah, I'm struggling to make sense of what Bruiser is trying to do. And like, I was watching him from time to time in early qualifying sessions as well, as we currently have a dry session, and you might make fun of me for calling that out, but I've seen very interesting combinations of weather on some tracks these days. So it's overcast even, so who knows? But yeah, but I'm trying to make sense of what Bruiser's like. Usually someone that, and Bruiser has, I think, stated that sometimes in the Discord, that he's trying with his new equipment to get himself more used to it. And obviously, if you start out again on new equipment, it can feel like you're starting the game new, which is like totally fine. And if you try to race in this league, you must have all assists off. So if anything, and I can give this as a tip, you maybe should try to run a tire for with 10 kilos and try to get some rhythm in, and then just try to consistently try to push. So I do that sometimes in wet weather conditions, especially in these qualifying sessions we're having in the side of the season. So I don't know if he finds it incredibly hard to have a cooldown or like a warm-up lap and then just try to build up the lap, and then he just overdoes it. So maybe he's trying to find a way in between there. So I don't think he has the key unbinded, but let's see. We have to turn our attention to our top 5 prediction for today. What is your preferred order you would like them to finish and to score the maximum points here over me for tonight?
I don't think it's going to change all that much, to be honest. I think really the only swap is going to be between Energetic and Pleasant Stake, maybe even Trugster getting in there. I'm going to say Trugster for the win. I'm going to believe this time. And then Pleasant Stake for second. Am I? No, I'm going to say Energetic for second, Pleasant Stake for third, and then Tabran and Race Chase fourth and fifth. I really don't think it's going to change all that much tonight. Despite the DRS there's being 2 zones between turns 5 and 6, and then, of course, turns 7, 8, and 9 being an entire straight there, but also having that second DRS zone. I really, really doubt we're going to see much of a change in the order, but I think it's the top, mostly the guys at the top that are going to be fighting it out, maybe some battles in the midfield as well. I just don't really see much of a change there. So you have my prediction. You could go ahead.
Yeah, I was already trying to write things down before, so I was actually agreeing there with Energetic second, but I put Snake to win it, and I think Quincy is third, and Truckster takes fourth for me, and Rage is fifth. I think the most important thing here is the start and the starting phase, and the time of the pit stop needs to be somewhat right, and obviously Quincy can't lose that much time, which can really be sometimes troublesome if the first couple of corners are tricky, and then you're kind of blowing all of your battery to kind of stay in between before turn 9, and then you just have this awkward trying to follow, but it's really difficult with the dirty air. So yeah, you can shred your tires early on, and then you are going to be looking at maybe a lap earlier pit stop, which then means you kind of need to think about tire wear, especially throughout the end of the stint, because I extended 1 lap over what I wanted to yesterday, and the tires still at the end felt like they were gonna go off. So yeah, can't imagine how T-Brain and Snake felt 7 days ago with their tire punctures. So yeah, I think Energetic is to be backed with the current performances, and I'm interested to see what happens here with him for tonight.
We'll run through the order one last time before we get a 29-lap race underway here in Abu Dhabi. It is Pleasant Stake on pole position. Trugster in second place here, hoping to finally convert something to a win after bad luck in Qatar last week. Energetic, although looking to make maybe a thorn in everybody's side. 3 wins in a row on the cards for him tonight. Let's see what he can do. Tabran hoping not to fall down the order this week. He would love to stay in the top 5. He starts 4th. Race Chase here, just going from strength to strength, but can something happen for him, or will he just be a top 5 contender for the rest of the season? He starts 5th. Rolly and Quincy will be looking to try and get forward to the field, hoping to help each other out in their own little way. Rolly with a post-race 3-second penalty, and Quincy just looking to stay in the championship and is going perfectly straight here, doing a Kimi Raikkonen from all those years back. Moksha in 8th. Toby 9th here, hoping to have yet another good result, which saw him go from 11th to 7th last week. Gino in 10th place. Salvi still a bit inconsistent with his form, but looks like he's finding his way in the midfield. But can he find something tonight? Let's see. He starts from 11th. Kovachka is 12th. Jamaican Jam, Debsy and Skid Solo round out your top 15. 16th to 18th is Meldrum. Sorebo and finally Bruiser, rounding out the 18 drivers taking part tonight. The starting phase is the most important as per Herman's words. Let's see what can Snake make a getaway like he would do in these early rounds, but it looks like it's just been in these last few weeks that Pleasant Snake just hasn't had the pace over everyone else. Even qualifying was extremely tight, but we never saw the final flying laps come in, so we never really got a true reflection of that qualifying pace as everybody invalidated or messed up a corner, and maybe there was even a side-by-side moment going through the final corner as well, which affected a couple of laps, but we'll see what happens post-race. But now the 18 drivers will line up into their grid slots and we will be underway for a 29 lap race, which may see another page turn in this exciting three-way championship. It is all down to you in the 18. Let's go racing here at Abu Dhabi. One, two, three, 4, 5 red lights. It's go for Abu Dhabi, and I think Truckster actually got a good start, but just had a bit of a traction snap, but it doesn't matter. Truckster's down the inside into turn 1 and takes the lead in the Grand Prix. To Brad as well, it's side by side with Snake. He's going to go from the lead to third place, potentially contact between the two. Energetic trying to take advantage of this. To Brad, he's up to second. What a start from the McLaren there. The only running McLaren tonight, and he's going to have the inside for this crucial turn, but Pleasant Snake will have the run. That's Quincy going past Quincy going past Race Chase for 5th place here, and now we're going to remain side by side for 2nd place as now Energetic trying to take advantage of this, Herman.
Very good start by Quincy, kept himself right in the mix when they were all trying to jiggle for some lines in between that first couple of turns where you're really trying to stay on the track but not lose too much momentum as you are trying to be flat out even in the early parts of the race, with Energetic now slotting behind T-Ran and Quincy now into 5th position. That is not too bad considering how the qualifying pace usually plans out for the Ferrari driver, and Energetic is right in front of him, so still plenty of work to do here, but there's like lots of things that can happen, and both of them have had a reasonable experiences from yesterday. Quincy way worse than Energetic, who was looking at a top 3 finished in 4th later without a fight with Race Chase as well. So yeah, let's see. Early laps are going to be crucial, and maybe if needed, T-Bran can even help Pleasant Snake passively if he opens up the gap too early, and then it's going to be very hard to get into a DRS train once again on your own pace.
This is going to be an absolutely motivating start for the McLaren. He fell down the order last week in Qatar, but this week he's right up there in contention with our champions-elect. So is that going to maybe be a sign of things to come for him next season? Of course, you will be finding all of that out without me. Of course, these final... Oh, we've had a spin in the background. It's Meldrum spinning round on soft tyres as well. He goes round all the way down into last position, but will continue on without any intervention from virtual race control as, things stay as they are for the time being, and Truckster's just trying to keep the 5 drivers behind him. Well, of course, that's more than 5, but let's just kind of keep things condensed for the sake of too much to talk about in one go. And, Truckster turn leading the first couple of laps as things stand right now. But, of course, remember, Truckster over the last few weeks has had mistakes creep into his racecraft, and he's really looked like he got a hold on that last week, but it was just that final lap when the puncture came around that really cost him. Of course, he had a 10-second penalty, which was fairly removed by the stewards as they deemed it an unfair penalty from the game. So in the end, Truckster got his podium, but there's been a lot of swapping in the midfield. Like I predicted, Moksha and Toby are having a battle as Moksha slides his way out of turn 16 onto lap 3 of 29 for him. Sergeant Devsy and Bruiser are having a battle as well, as Meldrum has been left behind by those. As there's Tarkangino who's spun round with Bruiser. Herman, there's been a moment at the back. Did you catch it?
No, I was looking at the fight with Toby as well for a moment, and then back to Race Chase and the group that was behind. So I think, that must have been just a misunderstanding maybe. And there's the wing damage, so very crucial point in the championship. for Mercedes. They played some catch-up with the last couple of races, but now there's an additional pit stop probably needed, as he has to do a whole lap without the front left-hand side M plate.
Energetic spawn, Herman. Energetic is round at turn 6 and 7. I'm so sorry to have interrupted you, but one of the champions elect. Go on, sorry.
VSC, I think there's a VSC. The whole track map is yellow, so yeah, both Mercedes going down the order here, as there's been major time loss for Energetic. There's no front wing damage, and we're seeing that the pace seems to be slowed down. Yeah, the VSC is out, and these gaps will be frozen for a second here, as there was probably a moment where he got a drive-through penalty for Takagino on top of that as well, after the VSC just got released again. And that gap at the front is looking like it's going to be above 1 second soon if Truckster can find that pace. And once again, he has underfueled the car by half a lap. So I'm interested to see how that goes. And that is also the same for Pleasant Snake, who's currently running in second. So let's see what happens. There's another off. And that was for Devsy inside of the hotel section. But there is no interruption or code by virtual race control, as Pleasant Snake is once again back into that 1 second. Very crucial at this stage. And T-Brand, I think also hit that mark when arriving for that turn 5 braking zone, with Quincy just having a tank slap at the exit. That is not good for rear tires, mate, as there's a move for the lead of the race with Pleasant Snake trying to get by on Truckster. Inside line is for the Aston Martin. Is there enough space on the outside? Yeah, you sneak in, but that bump on the inside of that curb for turn 8, that is very... or turn 7, that is, sorry, is very unforgiving. So if you go over there, that's very troublesome. Truckster with the fight back, and Quincy is by on T-Brand, so that's very crucial right now, because these two at the front are losing time. And Truckster is back into the leading position with only 1.1 seconds between Pleasant Snake and Quincy, as now the gap has come down even more. So interesting to see how that plans out, and Quincy has not gone under fuel. So this is very important as well. Let's see what happens with these three very soon, as they probably will try to work together in a way to use the DS train to get away from the rest of the field.
Energetic, by the way, has made some moves at the back. He is absolutely carving his way back up the field to try and make up for what happened before the VSC, and he is just currently up to 11th place. We'll keep an eye on him as the race comes to a conclusion, but it is damage control for him. But as long as he just catches up to Jamaican Jam, he can find himself back within that fight very quickly and make his way up the field, but is really running out of time. Really needs to make the use of these medium tires. Well, they're still good, and well, it's certainly all panic stations here for the Mercedes driver. But for Quincy and Pleasant Snake, well, they are just going to be immediately focused on the drivers around them. At the moment, Pleasant Snake is ahead of the Ferrari driver, but the Ferrari driver qualified behind the Aston Martin and has now made up places in the race. We've gotten used to seeing that. And remember, Quincy was qualified in 7th place, which, by the way, the last time he did that, you'll never guess, but he actually hasn't qualified in 7th before. But so what I was going to say was, because I thought it was going to be round 2 there, where he qualified 8th. No, sorry. Goodness me.
Oh, Quincy on Truckster! Pleasant Snake got past Truckster into turn 9, and both have gone by! And Truckster's left the session!
And Quincy's got wing damage, so Truckster's had an internet connection. He was teleporting around the track earlier on, and Quincy's got front wing damage. So now Truckster's race has come undone through no fault of his own. And maybe Quincy caught off guard there, and his front wing is now damaged. So now it will need to be an extended pit stop if he feels it needs replacing. But we'll soon find out, as now Truckster... Oh, this is just so unfortunate. This is a rather heartbreaking way to end what was looking like a promising battle, and now Snake looks like he's going to run away with this, and that's not what Energetic wants. No move since we last talked about him, still 11th place, but it's Herman. It was the internet that's done Truckster in. He's left the session, and now we'll need time to come back.
Yeah, and there's very unfortunate timing for Quincy there, because he just caught back up, and now there's going to be very tough end of the stint, as now there's Race Chase trying to get by on the AI that is currently controlling Truckster's car as a placeholder, with also T-Band into 3rd position. Race Chase is looking like he wants to get that what is, I think, 5th position or 4th position in the Drivers' Championship against Moksha, because that guy is currently behind him. Race chase for a double maybe on the 2nd straight, and he goes by into 3rd position. So with that wing damage, I think Race Chase has a good opportunity to be in that DS of Quincy soon, maybe at the start of next lap. And yeah, Quincy is going to be gutted with that one, because neither was that in control of Truckster but his internet provider, and then you just are at the mercy of the RNG internet connection goals, because sometimes cars teleport heavily before the driver disconnects, and sometimes just nothing happens for a second. The car just appears out of nowhere, is still visible with contact, and then after that the driver's gone. I think that must have happened here, because there was a very fast catch by Quincy before Truckster and Pleasant Snake exited the chicane between the straights. So that looked very unusual, and then all of a sudden, there was wing damage to the Ferrari. He's keeping himself honest, and Truckster's back after a quick invite for me, so hoping that is hopefully no longer problems for him, and he has not lost too much time outside of the DS detection for the driver ahead, and Moksha will pass him now on this straight.
Ooh.
AI is defending rapidly and causes another wing damage here. Front right end plate for the Williams is gone. Okay, this is the Yuki Tsunoda spirits in the car I fear. So most aggressive defense I've seen from an AI on this level in a while. So Moksha's not gonna enjoy that one. That was very, very late. And let's see. Tibra and Rolly and Race Chase are currently trained inside of the top 5 position. They will look. Yeah, they will try to look into further improvement. And Moksha's gone as well.
Moksha round at turn 9 on the exit, approaching turn 10, and now he's going to lose positions. And guess what? One less for Energetic to worry about. So at the moment now, Energetic moves into the top 10. All important places. Every point counts. Remember, he has a 12-point as... Oh no. Oh no, Moksha has gone and done a Nicholas Latifi just before the Nicholas Latifi place, and he is out of the race, has retired there, but no intervention from virtual race control. We continue on, as Herman had a little bit of a muttering there, probably something I said there, but I just want to kind of give some context here, because Bruiser actually DNF'd, but lost all force feedback. And that is why he, in the end, retired in the pits there. So a bit of information from Bruiser directly there. And that's a shame, obviously. And like, we talked about him earlier. Hasn't really been has been trying to adjust to the equipment as Quincy takes out a brake marker board there. I'm sure Race Chase not going to be happy about that. Neither will the rest of the drivers behind him. As now we see Energetic get a move. So once one thing happens, the rest kind of follow in very quick succession. And we are on lap 8 out of 29. And we are seeing several moves start to happen. But the 2 DNFs so far is Moksha and Bruiser as we approach, as we're approaching about, let's see, 1/3 of the race. And then Jamaican Jam makes a move for 7th as well. But Herman, what's the analysis so far from your end?
Yeah, I just watched Moksha go back on the check, and he still had one of the higher ES modes up, and Energetic is trying to get by on Toby. That was very aggressive on the Austrian driver. Ooh. There's another spin by a driver ahead. That was Jamaican Jam, and Energetic takes 2 positions in quick succession, but I will think that Toby is not going to be amused by that. And yeah, I was surprised that Moksha tried to turn in at a rather high speed into the first turn under the hotel, and then just straight line it over the curb into the wall. So I was fearing there was a very unnecessary intervention by safety car going to be coming up. But I think there was nothing going on there at the end. I'm surprised that part of the track is not immediately causing VSC or full safety car, as Devsy is round before the pit entry.
Oh dear.
He's continuing into the pit lane, I think.
Yep.
But trying to get back onto track. Yeah, there's now a bigger gap at the front with the train forming behind Quincy. We can expect him to have a bit stronger tire wear on the left-hand side, but obviously the most important corners are to the left, so you don't actually suffer that much on this track, especially since only, I would say, really turn 3 is troublesome, and maybe a bit of the this part here with the understeer continuously getting worse into the braking zone as T-Brand is through under the hotel on race chase because he struggled to get the traction right. And that is a very nice move by the Polish driver here in the McLaren. Nicely executed there. Took an opportunity as race chase was trying to get the car to turn for what is, I think, turn 13 there. So very nicely executed there.
I just want to say as well, Quincy hasn't totally left Pleasant Snake behind. He's got 3.3 seconds, which is not bad at this moment in time, but obviously as the tyres begin to wear out, Pleasant Snake will be in better control. And to be honest, any immediate challenge is really at this point going to either come from Trugster or Energetic, but those two are so far back. And Trugster has caught back up to this DRS train, but Pleasant Snake is long gone at the moment at 3 seconds. So I don't know if Quincy would want to try and start working together with someone, but either way, if you do, well, then you have all of a sudden a lot more to worry about. Now, of course, just to remind you, in case of those who have just joined, Quincy's teammate Rolly serving a post-race 3-second penalty. If things are to stay as they are right now, it would only affect the finishing position of Trugster, who would go up into 5th, but even then, that might also be in doubt in case if any further damage has been caused to the drivers around. Obviously, Moksha now DNF'd. Unfortunately for him, and Quincy as well, that he would may throw an investigation into the steward's room, but of course we'll have to wait until post-race. Maybe nothing will come of it, but either way, Trugster now back in the car and currently running in 6th place, but won't be happy about the time loss at all, and how the fact that Snake is looking like he's finally had a bit of an off week last week and is looking to get back on it. Trugster, though, going for the undercut as he pits into the pit lane. Caution in Sector 3, and that one's a bit more dramatic. I think we probably just had an Alpine going slowly, actually. It looked like there was a mistake, but either way, it was just Meljum going slowly to allow lap traffic through, so he's been lapped. I do apologise, everybody, and getting excited for nothing. Yikes. Anyway, we are on lap 11 out of 29. We are seeing Snake get away from the pack here, but it looks like it's going to be maximum damage control, and Quincy on for yet another 2nd place here. In this season, it's been consistent, but not where he wants to be. He wants to be fighting with Snake, but of course that front wing damage earned from Trugster's disconnection will not be helping anything at all. But Tabran finally on a good race himself. Race Chase also on a good result so far, and these two drivers going from strength to strength. But Tabran has only really come out of the shadows in the last couple of weeks. Of course, had a great qualifying last week, 5th place, but sadly due to issues with, I think it was a tyre puncture along with Snake, they both fell down the order at the end of the race, and Tabran will not be wanting to repeat that, and he is on for a genuine podium. Exciting times for the Polish driver, that is for sure, but not exciting times if you're an Energetic fan, falling down the order after a spin earlier on in the race at turns 6 and 7, and that is why he is away from this pack that are currently fighting and is still falling away here as two go into the pit lane. Yes, go ahead, Herman.
Yeah, I was watching Quincy to see if he was trying to make that pit stop now and trying to kind of respond to Trugster, because I'm currently looking at this and thinking, yeah, he's not too bad in terms of the pace, and he has kind of kept the let's get solo spins before the pit lane entry, has kind of kept the field behind him honest, like we're talking the 4 drivers who were behind him just right now. But I'm thinking that if there's no safety car soon, or obviously will interfere with us this lap especially, then there's, I don't think, really an intention for him to lose an extra 5 seconds. I think with Energetic there was an opportunity to go and like try to build back into the rhythm and then just pull each other along, because he was also making it way inroads inside of the last couple of laps before a small mistake. He ran on the inside there, and Quincy is trying to defend that, holds it around the outside and stays in second. Very important position for the pit stops now. You have to say that there's a strong argument for obviously having over half the race to race with extra downforce and maybe trying to get an easier 2nd position, because he had the pace to stay with the guys and even be in front. But now he's going to be undercut, and he needs to decide if he wants the wing change. He ran another lap, and Quincy is guy ahead. Pleasant Snake is also there, so let's see. And I don't think there's a guy with the front wing. No, there's just going to be that tire change. I think that's a reasonable decision. everyone should usually have that second hard available. So if there's another interaction with a safety car, then you can try and maybe go for second hard and continue with a 2-stop, because that is still very much viable as well. Let's see where the guys come out. Truckster is ahead of Quincy by just a tiniest amount of margin, and Salvi has also continued. I don't think that's gonna be like the best strategy. I think over lap 12 is very troublesome for your overall field that you race within inside of your race. You are not on the DS train, you're really struggling. Quincy is trying to get by on Truckster as soon as he can, and there's the first opportunity immediately into turn 6. Let's see if the switchback works. Incredibly high risk there with the inside line for Quincy, and let's see how bad the slipstreaming is here now. Yeah, there is a bit of ERS usage by Truckster, but he gets by and into what is now 6th position. Rolly is there as well, taking Quincy's position, and he does so, and I don't blame him for that, because Quincy overall should be still a bit slower here, and the tire warm-up is also like half a lap. So let's see. T-Brand in now, gonna be having the freshest medium hard tires, also with Salvi, who is finally not on the 2-stop, on a very extended first stint as well. So these guys are gonna get by, and then the race hits its second phase with Pleasant Lake still in the lead, and now 4 drivers fighting for what is gonna be 2nd position as of right now. And I think a bit of damage limitation with how unlucky that was with the air of Truckster for Quincy is gonna be 3rd position at a minimum, because he can't afford to lose more points at this stage of the season, as we have Salvi now dropped down to what is P10 at the end of the first phase of pit stop, and Meldrum has decided to call it a day. Had a really troublesome evening last time out and today, and Truckster's pulling both of the Ferraris along, and Race Chase is still in there, and we can see Energetic has closed it down to what is now 4 seconds, and with that group fighting, he can be very soon with these guys as well.
Truckster is also bringing down that gap, but he's got a lot of pressure behind. Rolly is going to be the immediate Warriors contact between the two. That's going to force Rolly wide, and it is, well, I thought it did, but no, Rolly is wide. Sorry about that. He must have just had a moment there. He just went off screen, and I thought Quincy was Rolly there for a hot minute, but that is not the case, as Ibo now in the pits. By the way, just to kind of give you an update, Meldrum's last moment of action was a spin at this very section, and at that very next moment, he then decided to call it a day. Can't really blame him, unfortunately. Meldrum clearly struggling with the car tonight and has just decided to say no thank you. Wasn't really on for any points, but at the moment Suribo in the Soul Alpine is going to get the point as things stand right now. I will actually say Skid Solo has been fighting as well. He's been kind of my standout driver at the back of the field. He's been in and around the fight, was fighting for 12th earlier on with Tarkagino, and of course the the Sergeant Devsy that you're seeing right now along with Suribo. So these 4 are having a great little fight, and so it's nice to see some battling at the back, but of course with the champions elect currently in the very, very close fight for their own respective seasons, that's been taking the attention. But obviously great to see people at the back going from strength to strength, and now we're going to see a move here. The kick Salber of Devsy just let him go, didn't bother to fight that, felt it wasn't worth it, so now he's through. But now the more of a closure has been happening at the back of the field. Sorry, at the front of the field, beg your pardon. It's now at just under 3.5 seconds. So Truckster and Quincy now starting to work together. Might leave Race Chase behind at this point, but Quincy understeering through turn 9, which is where you want the wing to be at 100%, and it just isn't at the moment. Of course, suffered that damage earlier from a Truckster disconnect. So the irony of working together now is that, do you trust the guy with the unstable internet connection? Well, let's see how the virtual gods handle Truckster's race for the rest of the evening, but hopefully there'll be no further issues with that. But we'll start lap 16, out of 29 for these 3, as Quincy gets the fastest lap despite that damaged front wing. So that is a point going his way if things are to stay as they are right now, as Salvi and Toby are having a battle, and that's Salvi round the outside at the hotel section for 9th place. What a move from the Italian driver. If his form's not too good, it's like, oh, there was a kick Salva spinning right in front of them. Brief yellow flag. Won't need any intervention from race control as that all comes to an end. So Salvi up now. What is 8th place? Toby also improves on that as well. but obviously it's the fights at the front of the field, and the DRS really needs to start working for these two, because Pleasant Snake is starting to pull a gap, which is extending. I don't really want to go side by side at this corner, and Race Chase, obviously, after that moment between Rowley and Truckster, that allowed the Racing Bulls to get by. So now it's a three-way battle for second place. Not really what these guys would have wanted. They're trying to catch the leader of this race, but I don't think Race Chase would really be expecting to be on for the race win, really, Herman. He's just trying to fight for the best position he can get.
Yeah, it's pretty much a fight for his own, but yeah, there was like a brief moment where they got the gap down to 3.2, but then they don't seem to be very eager to like let this play out, because I think overall the pace should be better for Chuckster. Like, yeah, Quincy can get by as yeah, there's a Pleasant Snake faster lap for you, and he has done that without the extended use of DS into zone. So very nice lap there by the Norwegian driver, as he continues to push for a win on this racetrack here. Surprising to me that there was yeah, there are like no clean passes like this always at the late stages of the turn and of turn 9. So if you can't get by on what is this first straight and arguably the best overtaking opportunity in terms of track length and braking zone, because you can send one down the inside, then you should just stay back and wait to play it out. But Trucks is thinking differently as they continue to cost themselves time with these alternative lines needed in order to keep two cars with enough space through that, and that is a very losable section in terms of car control, as the Trucks is around the outside and into second position, as also Rowley has stayed with this group. Energetic still with 4 seconds, as there's a second pit stop by Tarkingino. We've seen him spun and being involved in a collision early on. Also, that fight between Salvi and Toby is the official fight for best of the rest. Salvi is currently leading that by 17 points and is currently getting a better of Toby, who also, as I just mentioned earlier in the broadcast, has got his best season result in Qatar with a 7th position. So looking forward to this improved Toby version, because he has been up and down, but mostly trying to work his way through, and some good qualifying results have also put him in strong positions inside the top 10 once again for the Austrian.
As we now continue to look at this battle for second place, Truckster decided to defend that time around, didn't really want to give Quincy an opportunity, and I do wonder if Truckster is faster than the Ferrari driver, because now he's pulled a gap of about 8 tenths before the DRS, and the gap in front down to 5 seconds. Let's see what Truckster can pull off now that he's ahead of Quincy. I would love to see Truckster going to fight for the win. He's my one. He's my prediction, but obviously Herman's prediction has been more fruitful so far in this race. But you never know. In Abu Dhabi, it just takes a moment. We have learnt that the hard way through the many, many years of racing we have had here, and it can really just change at the click of a finger. And as we go through turn 9 now, nothing happening at the moment. But if any of these 4 get desperate, well, there's Energetic there, who's also a Champions Elect, ready to take advantage of this. Of course, coming into tonight, 12 points behind Snake. Well, that gap is sadly going to increase for his own sake. So, obviously, let's go through some calculations very quickly, just while we have a bit of time and a bit of calm before the storm. Obviously, Pleasant Snake taking fastest up as well, as it stands. So, the full 27 points on offer every week will go to him. Then, with Quincy being in 3rd place, that's a 9-point swing. So that gap goes from 3 points to 12 points, as it begun for Energetic, beg your pardon. Energetic, though, 6th place for him, 16-point swing, and all of a sudden, that picture changes rather dramatically yet again. So Energetic really does need to try and make his way up the field and minimize the damage caused by his spin earlier in the race. You can see him at the back of your frame there as he goes through turn number 5 now. But 11 laps to go. There is still enough time for him to catch up, but time is of the essence as well. So really could use to get a hurry up on. But now we're going to see them approach DRS zone again, and they are not catching it. The lead is now at over 6 seconds I think the maximum for the championship selects here, which are Energetic and Quincy, is second, as now Quincy is going side by side with Truckster into turn 9. They will continue to go side by side as they approach the exit of the corner, but who's going to win out this time? Truckster with the inside, Quincy with the outside, and who's going to win out? Might have been a little bit of contact there, but nothing too dramatic. We see a 3-second penalty, but we don't care. This is a two-way battle for second place, and that's Truckster who wins out with some great fighting. That, of course, extends the gap to Snake, but I think Quincy knows that race for the win is all but done, and now the gloves are coming off. No one's helping each other out. Lap 20 out of 29, and this is hotting up to be an excellent finale to the race, Herman.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear if Quincy stays on the podium, to what extent he wanted to fight this so early, because yeah, Energetic has got 4 10s basically gifted because they tried to decide to have a partnering harbor tour there on the inside of what is, I think, turn 12 into 14 with that double left-hander on the hotel. Yeah, that was quite the racing, but honestly, is everyone behind bringing everyone behind back in, including Energetic. So there's enough laps left for Quincy's tire, especially in the left-hand side, to degrade faster than what is currently his advantage over these guys around him. There's 7 laps to 8, 8, and 9. There's another 10 briefly. Yeah, he shows himself there in the mirrors. There's a bit of an adjustment from Truckster on the outside and keeps it ahead. I don't expect there to be a send on the inside, especially for less braking power. So yeah, I can see that Energetic obviously is still a need to push on his own to get into the DS chain, and that still, yeah, is costing him time on these 2 straights, even if they continue to fight in some of these corners or are not technically letting people through. But he got the 3-second to roll he covered already, and that's a couple of points as well. And there's nothing that currently streams he can't do it for me. So if anything, just a moment where someone on the exit of, for example, 5 or turn 7 just has a tank slapper, someone has to brake or take avoiding action, and then the next 2 behind, currently Race Chase and Rolly, are just there in the frame. 4-way or 3-way fight into a turn, and suddenly Energetic is going to catch up by a second. And that is how easy it can go here. So they need to be, and especially Quincy, need to be aware that don't fight it too much, in a sense where if you don't have the tires left, yeah, you can't really do anything. Looked like he wanted to go there for it once again, as Truckster's defended that brilliantly there, making his car as wide as he could. And Quincy goes to the inside once again, and losing all of that battery. Goes to the inside, stays there, and better exit also for him. Yeah, and you have to wonder what pace he could have had, especially when he approached Truckster and was looking like he could maybe make a move. Starting 7th, currently in 2nd position, and he is in need for this to be the final position as well, to not lose too much points, because right now fastest lap is with Pleasant Snake as well, so that would be a 6-point swing for the Aston Martin driver right now. Still a couple of laps to go. Let's see how this plans out. And Energetic is down to 2 seconds now, so even more interesting things coming up soon, where we might see a 5-way fight for that 2nd spot on the podium.
An exciting battle, and here is currently coming upon us. Energetic getting involved in this 4-way fight for 2nd, which of course, as Herman just said, will become a 5-way battle. Energetic has been chipping away at the gap, and that time around it got a big chunk as we see Truckster to the inside for 2nd place as we approach turn 6 and 7. And there we go, Truckster is back ahead, but Quincy, as we keep repeating ourselves, will have the DRS on the 2nd go. 2 DRS zones so close together, only separated by 2 corners, and there we go again. Truckster and Quincy are looking like they're going to do their fighting round this corner for the rest of the race, but it's not allowing Rolly or Race Chase to get close enough to try and stick their noses in. They're just not quite, they just don't quite have the straight line speed, and these two looking like they're working together, but they're just not working quite hard enough to try and get away from the two at the back. Well, that'll become three after that little moment from Quincy. He's been pushing very hard over the last couple of laps. We've been seeing mistakes creep in with the Ferrari at the front of this pack. He's just been slipping and sliding and was doing so over the last lap. And look, Energetic now is just over a second to these four. And there he is, right up close in your frame, literally tenths away from that DRS. And well, now these next couple of corners are going to be crucial for Energetic with 7 laps to go. And now it is a 5-way fight for second. Get your seatbelts, get your popcorn, and get your extra large sodas, because this one...
Oh, Rolly sends it! Oh, collision with Race Chase! Into turn 5! And that has cost them both! And Energetic is right on the back of the Ferrari now! That was way too late, I think, for Rolly. The turn is very sharp, despite the entry being very wide and open, and Energetic takes that with a big thank you kiss on the way around the outside
Wait a
of the
minute!
Turkish reserve driver. Oh, he pushes him off! He pushes him off, Energetic is off, Rolly spins! Huge for the championship fight, and Energetic has lost that 1 point. Something gap over the next two guys in front who are continuously fighting into what is turn 9 as we approach that final part of the racetrack once again, and Energetic has lost some huge time after that very
It was chaos. I'll give you that for free.
Ambitious, I was looking for. Ambitious move by Rolly.
That's the perfect word. It was certainly ambitious there. I didn't even expect it. I was so focused on the front battle at the front, then all of a sudden Herman coming out of nowhere, giving us the jump scare that we all needed. And well, here we go. It is certainly now even worse for Quincy, because Energetic, despite losing that time thanks to the collision, it was over a second, but Energetic is back. And now, well, what was promising to be a 5-way fight is now back to a 4-way fight, but with a new contender in there, as the Alpine of Sir Ibo gives way to the pack not to impede them. And here we go. Well, here is Energetic with DRS for the first time on this group. We will see him getting involved. He opens the rear wing, but so do Race Chase and Quincy ahead. And now Truckster and Quincy will go fighting again into the next couple of zones. We have 6 laps to go. This could really go anywhere now, and Energetic surely deserves driver of the day if he gets over all of these drivers and goes for second place. Not the win I predicted for him, but of course it was involved in a moment earlier on in the race. And here's Quincy approaching for second place here, but Truckster will defend as stubbornly as he has for the past few laps. He now knows that a good result is only laps away, but needs to fight hard because Quincy's championship is in the balance. I just wonder if Truckster has a bit of snake bias maybe, as Quincy's off the track trying to keep that position, but Truckster stays firm for now in his defense, and we will have 5 to go at the line. Herman, this is going to go any which way, but Quincy in danger here because he's been going off the track a bit, so he might be incurring track limit warnings.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up for you in a moment, but Energetic is taking these final turns, especially under the hotel, very much at ease. He's not in a rush. He feels like he can charge that battery very easy there, and I'm surprised to see that Race Chase, who hadn't had any attempt of trying to get by on these guys after trying to defend from Rolly, is on a low battery as well. So he has like half the amount of battery charge compared to Energetic. Obviously, he would need to overcome 2 guys with DRS in front, because there's always a harder way to find around guys who are currently inside of the DRS chain. But Energetic knows that he just needs to play his cards right. If 2 at the front, and we have continuously seen these 2 in the names of Truckster and Quincy, are fighting too much. There's an opportunity to get by. Race Chase can misjudge that, and then you just go for that gap that is there in that fight, and Energetic takes another position. He's running out of laps to do so, but he's currently in a good position still, with a lot of charge to behold and to be used inside of what could be an audacious move before a very important part of the racetrack, including what has been an attempt from Rolly there into turn 5. Or maybe under the hotel again, because the Ferrari and the Red Bull have been continuously scrapping at that. And the lead at the front is now extended to what is roughly 11 seconds, but that doesn't change anything. You don't get extra points for being further away, but he gets currently the fastest lap point, so that is obviously still huge for Pleasant Lake, who are still in the lead, coming into this championship, into this race, leading the championship by 3 points. And now let's see if Energetic can line something up. He's closer to Race Chase, and Race Chase is the truckster at the front. I think we're just going to see continuously swapping between them. Yes, 73 to 50, 25% ES charge hold by Energetic, and he's close to that. And if Race Chase needs to get offline like this, that was very deep on the brakes there, and he almost missed Quincy by just a couple of centimeters. Is there a chance for Energetic to get by? Needed to adjust the brakes. I'm watching this. The front two are swapping again. Is Energetic moving to the outside? And no, but he's burned some of that charge. So he is in need to get this one sooner rather than later, because his tires are not going to come back to him, I would assume. So something is in the veins here for him, and he needs to do it rather quickly in order to capitalize off mistakes from the others. And now I'm going to check for Quincy's track limits as you take over.
If I'm Truxter right now, I would be worrying about keeping the I'd be worried about keeping the car pointing in the right direction. At this stage of the race, something always happens to him, and it is now, well, coming to the closure. So, like, you know, if I'm a Truxter fan, I'm tense as heck, because you don't want to see Truxter losing those positions, although a couple of those incidents might fall under review thanks to his disconnect. Of course, Quincy lost his front wing end plate thanks to all of that, and Moksha did as well, but obviously Moksha had a moment at the hotel section and is no longer in this race. The Red Bull now will have DRS as we go down the straight again between turns 5 and 6. Slake is 11 seconds away from this pack. Certainly, oh, good confidence boost as now Truxter and Quincy swap yet again for what feels like the infinite time in this race, as now Devsy and Ibo are also swapping, but of course with penalties galore there. And here we go, aggressive fighting from all four of these, and now Quincy is back through to second place, but surely someone has to give at the back of this. Race Chase is diving deep into turn 9 to make Truxter maybe potentially make a mistake, and if I'm also Truxter as well, I would say that, you know, Quincy is having understeering moments here through turns 10 and 11, even through 12 here. This is where that front wing damage really is felt, and look how the four close up. And I would try and say, if Truxter could sneak one down the inside before the end of this race, 2 laps to go at the line, time is running out, but that might be something Truxter has studied throughout the laps he has been behind Quincy. But only now 2 laps to go for these four. Who is going to come out second place? It's looking more likely of Quincy and Truxter. Truxter there having a moment, and that might give a brief little window of opportunity for Race Chase and Energetic equally, but they couldn't take advantage of it. But Energetic will say thank you very much. Round the outside, coming into turn 5, late on the brakes, but you can use the advantage of how wide the turn is to get the better exit. Race Chase is round. Race Chase goes round, and that will end his battle for the podium. But now 2 of the champions-elect are fighting for second place, and there's Truxter to second yet again, and now Quincy has one more thing to worry about, Herman.
Yeah, Energetic is now back with them, but I've just checked some telemetry as I'm recording for Quincy's tool here, and Energetic is much down on the straight, so I'm thinking he's running too much wing in order to get by on 1, not even 2 guys. So he needs to do all of this work in the corners, and obviously that's where Quincy has been struggling throughout. Quincy is very fast on the straights, and we have seen that. I think the overall usage for ERS on the straights, where he's trying to defend from an immediate counter attack before we ride the hotel turns for the penultimate time, is overall very good. So he's managed to keep himself very honest with that. But these final 5-something kilometers are going to be very interesting, because Quincy needs to be aware that if he doesn't get the braking point right for the chicane in between the straights, there's an opportunity for Energetic, because he just can continue to save on the ERS because he's fast enough in the corners anyway.
One more lap 3.2 miles, a mile already completed. Race Chase is still somehow in the frame, but way too far back to make any influence. 2 DRS zones to go. Here is the first one. Quincy is going to remain behind, as will Energetic. Energetic down on the straights, as Herman has reported to us just now. And 29 laps goes down to the final one. And this is critical in the picture of the championship. This is going to be do or die stuff from both Energetic and Quincy alike. We go on board with the Ferrari as he is now chasing down the Red Bull, who is going to hug that inside line going into 9. Will he be later on the brakes? Not quite, but Truckster has got alongside enough. His front wheel is alongside Quincy's rear left wheel. Bit of a moment there from Truckster very briefly. Bit of contact, minor contact between the two, but Truckster is still there. He's gone round the outside. Is he going to make that work for the inside? Bit of contact maybe. Energetic is so close, but the same coming to the line now. And Truckster's round, and the prophecy comes true again for the Red Bull driver, and Quincy holds on to an important podium, and Energetic as well gets another important podium as well. Race Chase will be home in 4th place after all of that, but a heartbreak for the Red Bull of Truckster, who will come home in 7th place. Tabran and Rolly Rolly and Tabran round out 5th and 6th. We all know who comes 7th. Salvi, though, great race from him as well. 8th place. Toby as well, another top 10 finish for him. He'll be very happy with that, I would imagine. 9th place. Kovachka as well, a 10th place finish for him. And you know what? Some habits we do love to return. After starting outside the top 10, he will finish within the top 10. That's a good drive from the Williams there, and some points going their way for the constructors as well. Jamaican Jam will be last across the line. Skid Solo as well with another good drive. He finishes 13th place there. Of course, the 3 DNFs would have helped, but all of the 15 drivers will score points at the end of that. But, heartbreak for Truckster again on the final lap for the 2nd week in a row, Herman. That has got to hurt. But what I would ask is, which one hurts more?
Yeah, tough one to swallow, but honestly, you have to look at it like, yeah, they were on the edge all the time. So I think at that stage, the tires were just, and you can't always predict where the level of grip is. And when you go offline like this, you just might be also sometimes victim of some, some RNG by the game. And yeah, very sad for Truckster not to be on the podium here, especially since he fought that so well, and that early disconnect also influenced his race, and he had the pace to come back into the group. Obviously, Quincy doing him a favor with that, not great race pace, but obviously his defenses very good. And yeah, you have to look at that 3rd place by Energetic and think, yeah, he just stayed in his position, but you would be wrong for that, because he made certainly a comeback after that spin on lap 4.
Race winner, we all know. Fastest lap goes to Snake, with driver of the day going to Quincy. Most overtakes Truckster and clears driver Salvi. But now, Pleasant Snake, Quincy, and Energetic round out your podium. Race Chase and Rolly 5th, 4th and 5th. Tabran, Truckster, Salvi, Toby, Kovachka round out your top 10. 11 to 15, Jam, Gino, Skid Solo, Sir Ibo, with your non-finishers being Meldrum, Moksha, and Bruiser. That's how you perfectly time a segue.
To our sponsor. If you know, you know.
Indeed, if you know, you know. LTT will be your only clue there. But otherwise, Herman, we are going to have to get ready for some podium interviews, or you will anyway. But I kind of want to just do a quick decompress of that race. So obviously, Snake back to winning ways after all of that. And, that's going to be a real confidence boost. It was kind of like being in the first half of the season again. Last week was terrible in Qatar for him. Outside of the top 10, 11th place finish. But tonight, 11 seconds ahead of that pack battling. That's going to be certainly a step in the right direction for Snake's championship campaign.
Yeah, we will find out what he has to say now, because we have been joined by our top 3. And we obviously start off with the Norwegian driver, Snake. You had a very poor showing in Qatar. You made a mistake that cost you 7th position at the start with leaving that EIS overtake on, and then you had a puncture on the final lap. That was a very tough race to come back from, but you managed to do it. How did you manage to do it? How was that track for you out there? And obviously, did you enjoy that dry qualifying? as there wasn't really improvement on that final qualifying lap. So how was that race from your side, and especially that first stint?
It was really good coming back from last week. Last week was not my weekend for the season. So yeah, it felt good coming back now. The qualifying I haven't really done so much, or so I have done quite a bit of good practice, but I haven't been on the 22 yet. So it was my first 22 lap. So and for the last lap, I the 2/10 in turn 1, gained it back and then lost it again at the end. So yeah, but yeah. But
Just
for the
like
race,
Max Verstappen.
what?
Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, no, I was gonna go to the race, but so what
Yeah,
were
I
you gonna
just
say?
wanted to add that also you kind of had a resemblance there with Max Verstappen, who also needed that only one lap inside of the quali. Yeah, jumping to the race, obviously first stint was crucial. You needed to obviously to keep tires alive, as the medium is very troublesome on this racetrack, and then you kind of never look back after an incident that the left truckster disconnected and Quincy with some wing damage, and then just controlled that race. How was tire wear for you out there, especially?
Tire wear was a bit worse for the first stint because I didn't really have a good start. I did try to do a really slow formation lap and to like didn't care about the temperature that much. Rather wanted to keep the tire wear down, but I'm not sure if that was the best strategy because it was I had so much wheel spin off the start, even if I wasn't like really revving that much. So and then I was behind the dragster and I had to defend quite a bit from T-Bran. He was giving up a good fight there. And so I kind of those tires were kind of starting to die off from lap 5 or something. So it was just trying to did like try to save the as soon as I got past and like had the DRS gap. I just tried to keep those tires alive. And like for the last stint, it was like the whole stint was just like trying to keep the tires alive. Because I know how if you like push them a bit too much for like 2-3 laps, they are never coming back properly on this track. I feel like. So yeah.
Apologies, everyone. I've just muted Quincy, who had the kids around.
The tires of the rest behind were certainly screaming at one stage. You have now finished 8 times on the podium after today's 10th race inside of the season. Obviously, there was only one real outlier with that race last time out. You've been now getting some points back over the guys that were currently chasing you. Both of them actually also finishing on the podium, despite tricky qualifying for Quincy and a bad race start for Energetic. There's 2 more races to go. One which we know is going to be in 7 days' time for Miami. One which we don't know. Thoughts on Miami for you? It's a very interesting track on this year's game with how tire wear is, and what do you think can be achieved there? And we are also obviously back to wet qualifying. So your take on how the last 2 races can be kicked off, or maybe you can also like trying to push it towards more of a early decider for you in Miami if you enjoy that track, obviously.
Yeah, I kind of have a bit of mixed feelings for the track because I really like it, but it's like it's always been a tricky track for me. But I like going through the SS area. It's so good, but it's like with all the long straight, you have to run so long wings anyway. So it's kind of like the whole of the track gets kind of way harder than it should be because of you have to run the low wings for the insanely long straights there. So, but yeah, it's we will see how it goes. If I remember correctly, I think Quincy has good pace there. So might be a fight. We will see.
Oh, you surely will, and he has put on one for tonight as well. We'll check that out in a moment. Congratulations again on P1, and obviously what has been now your 5th win inside of the season, and another good pole position as well. That was the 8th as well, I think. So very well done to you. Obviously trying to wash away that Qatar race, and then let's see what can be achieved by you in 7 days' time for Miami.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, moving on to what is second position for tonight. Once again, back into your beloved P2, Quincy, after a very fierceful fight with Truckster throughout that second stint, and obviously that first want to have such. Going into tonight, you were obviously looking at trying to get more points back on Snake, but the qualifying was troublesome. How do you sum it up for you here tonight?
I found it to be an enjoyable race. The Truckster AI wasn't the issue. I got wing damage.
I do apologise, everybody. My Discord is currently having an issue. We will return to the post-race interviews in just a moment, but obviously we were just talking to Quincy there, who had finished second place after suffering front wing damage from Trugster's disconnect. Now, obviously, going into next week, Pleasant Snake will have an advantage. Unfortunately, my Discord is still not responding. In fact, everything has stopped responding, to be honest.
So I expect that I won't be
And there we
keeping
go,
this
we're
P2
back.
for qualifying. I did, however, was expecting to be a little bit more up the field, but due to some sort of AI situation, Meldrum was in the last corner at the wrong time. Jamaican Jam was in front of me. He then went left, completely took me with dirty air, and I lost about 4/10 of that last lap. So not really happy with qualifying, but I knew that my starts, would help me to get to the front again. And unfortunately for Trugster, obviously he had a disconnect. So thank you guys for inviting him back. So it's unfortunate for him, but obviously really enjoyed the battle at the end. Unfortunately, he didn't get the P3 that he probably deserved, but I'm not sure what happened there. We'll have to review. It was a good battle though. I did enjoy it.
Yeah, okay, thank you for shedding some light on that, because we didn't see that live, and then we were surprised that Energy was sounding all the way back. Yeah, I was a bit confused at first, but maybe judging on what you said about maybe getting a penalty there, why was, like, it seemed like you wanted to fight Trucks at all times. Like, I didn't feel like you were particularly fast over him, but like in a sense that you were struggling more with the braking into the triple right-hander and under the hotel section sometimes felt like there was a lot of additional time lost to the front. You just wanted to try to compress that field behind, because obviously if you're in a slipstream, passing is hard, even if guy in front has a wing damage. So what was the additional strategy call there from you to like kind of continue this fight throughout these like 17 laps to the end there?
I think it was just at one point where we found that when I came out of the pits, we were pretty much on even pace, even with the wing damage. I passed him, and then I let him pass on the second DRS situation to try and close the gap to Snake. Ended up doing one of the fastest laps, and we were catching Snake, but then Snake suddenly just took off. He built the gap. I think he built like another 2 seconds in the next 2 laps, going for the fastest lap himself. And I think after that, we knew we weren't going to catch him. So we were just having some fun, I guess. We were battling, keeping it clean. I was struggling a lot through the hotel section just due to the wing damage. It just felt like an ice ring. So I lost the car a couple of times through there, but I was just trying to maintain sort of the gap so that Race Chase didn't catch us, because I know he's quite good on his tyres. So I thought he might have just been waiting around while we battle and then get us both to the end. So we were swapping, but we were doing it very carefully so that, well, in my opinion, we were doing it carefully so we didn't, get passed by the guys behind. So it's unfortunate how it ended, but good race nonetheless. Really enjoyable.
All right. Yeah, looking forward to the last two races. Obviously, a bit of a gap has now additionally appeared, but yeah, I think I'm agreeing there with Snake, but also before and that was like you looking to be one of their stronger guys for a good finish in Miami. Yeah, you've obviously have an additional track that we don't know of yet. How are you approaching these two? Like, just trying to go flat out racing, and as soon as you see Snake inside, just try to brawl it out with him, or do you just try to, try to keep that consistency, and maybe, if something happens, then just to be there? What is the overall strategy for the last two races?
Next race I'm really looking forward to. Miami is one of my favorite tracks. I've had the pleasure of having a test race there as well and doing very well. I got a P2 in that with some very fast competitors last week. So I'm looking forward to it. I feel like I've got a good strategy and a good pace there to keep up with Snake. I'm not sure about qualifying because he always finds a 10th or so to get on the field. So um, I'm not sure about qualifying, but race pace wise, I know that I'll definitely be up there in Miami. Last race, we'll just take it as it comes. Not too sure about what's going to go on there.
All right. Congratulations again on a very strong second place for tonight, and thank you very much for that entertainment throughout the race at the front. Very nice to watch, and speak to you in 7 days' time for Miami.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we are looking at Energetic, who recovered a very early fall back after collision, what we just now learned with Quincy into turn 4. Yeah, just a brief view on that incident. How did you see that from your side? Were you kind of hit by surprise, someone might say?
Yeah, I was kind of hit by surprise, but then again, I was like, yeah, things happen, just moving on and try to make the best of it.
And I think the best out of it you made, there was like a strong feeling that with the pace you had from yesterday, we were looking at a podium finish as well. You were trying to recover that throughout, the rest of the stint. Obviously, keeping tires in check is the most important thing, and obviously making some crucial passes throughout that stage. So when you approached to the S train, I think at some stages you were quite up on EAS. Do you feel like you had opportunities, or did you also feel like there was like a bit of discrepancy in straight line speed? Didn't look like you could really capitalize off the mistakes of race chase before there was like this fighting going on, and then he obviously also spun behind you 2 laps to go. So how do you see that final fight play out for you before it got spicy?
Yeah, I was like catching slightly in the third sector, and I was focusing on that to keep close to them. And I really, I had a lot of ERS on the straights, but I didn't seem to get that hairpin right to be closer to race chase to make an attack. And that's why I thought, okay, just save ERS then and try it on a different spot when he makes a mistake. Or, I was happy to be back at that train after my early spin.
Obviously, and obviously you made that. Obviously in the grand scheme of things, that is obviously a result that is not really helping you in terms of the championship. But I think we've spoken time and time again that you just try to take these opportunities. You have secured 4 wins inside of the season, second most after Snake, who just took his 5th for tonight. What is your initial idea of what Miami could be like for you? Do you enjoy that track? Is it troublesome for you? Had you any experience on this year's game so far?
You mean Miami, the next track, or?
Yeah.
Yes, I like that track normally, but I'm having trouble finding a right setup. So yet again, I'm just trying to do my best and finish as high as possible and have fun when I'm doing it.
All right, then looking forward to what can be happening around you once again in Miami in 7 days' time. And congrats again on a P3 for tonight.
Thank you.
And capping it off once again with David, yeah, obviously there was a huge fight going on throughout the race that we really much enjoyed. But in terms of the championship, it feels like there's now a slight advantage, even more now with Snake taking 6 points off Quincy there. There's a big track coming up for him, and also Energetic seems keen on that. So, yeah, your additional final thoughts for tonight, and obviously what might be in front of us for Miami in 7 days' time.
Well, of course, next week, Quincy feeling confident, as is Energetic. So that, I mean, we've obviously seen Pleasant State get his foot through the door on this one. And I do feel like now that he has really got sort of a finger on the championship, not necessarily a whole hand, but it's certainly like, you know, he's certainly in greater touching distance. Great points gain, 6 points over Quincy, and of course 10 points over Energetic. So if we calculate that as things stand right now, those 6 points, so Quincy's deficit goes from 3 points to 9 points. Energetic going from 12 to 22 points. So the next race is very important, especially for Energetic, and I would probably equally important for all three of them, to be honest. But Energetic really does need a good result, and for Snake to really have a bad evening. But if I'm being honest here, if Snake's pace was anything to go by tonight, I don't quite see that happening. But of course, let's wait and see. 10 points can mean everything in a championship campaign. And otherwise, that's really all I've got for the time being, and I think we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Looking forward to what can be also a very interesting racetrack, despite additional hard tire wear, and looking forward to what these three at the front can produce next time. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye. And with that, the podium interviews are all but concluded. We will be back with you next week, same time as always, not just for Division 2, but also for Division 1. What will happen in this championship, which is now looking like it's getting a bigger separation? Quincy will go into next week, as we've already said, with 9 points behind Snake. So really, if he needs a win, next week is that all-important moment, or for Snake to have a bad race. But of course, in SSRL, the rule is 2 bad races for every single driver, and then go and play all for it in the final round. We'll see what the next couple of weeks brings, as those will be my final commentaries with SSRL. So 4 more races of my voice, and then obviously for Season 8, it will be a brand new one. We will introduce at the end of the final rounds well, at least at the end of one of the final rounds, we'll of course give him a quick introduction, get him used to the league, and we'll take it from there. But otherwise, from myself and everybody at SSRL, we all thank you very much for watching. And if you are watching this on YouTube, obviously all races will be uploaded on Tuesday evening. Division 1 is uploading as we speak right now. Division 2 is not going to be too far behind, and we will obviously follow that pattern for the next couple of weeks. But until then, I've been your commentator, and from myself to SSRL, we thank the admins, the stewards, and the owner, the drivers, for putting on this show every week, and for allowing me to be their voice throughout the previous, what is it now? 5 seasons. That's insane. 5 seasons of commentary coming to an end in the next couple of weeks. But otherwise, that's all. See you next week. Same time as always, 7:30 p.m. GMT, Monday for Division 1, Tuesday for Division 2. We'll see you then. Bye for now.